This is Bulldog Country, presented by Minnesota Power and Essentia Health.
What is up? Welcome to Bulldog Country. It's our weekly half-hour installment of news, highlights, and analysis of UMD Bulldogs athletics. It's our chance to give you, the fans, a bit better idea what actually goes on with these teams and these players that you see competing for UMD. Coming up in tonight's show, we're going to chat in studio with UMD men's hockey assistant coach Derek Plant. His team's season is now underway, as are the seasons of the UMD men's and women's basketball teams. So we're going to hear from the Bulldogs in the gym as well. And a familiar face is back on the sidelines for the UMD football team. So we'll chat a bit about that. But first, we are talking about the guys on that field at Molosky Stadium this season. For that, we are joined by UMD football special teams coordinator Greg Bauer. Coach, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. It's always a pleasure to come down and visit with you.
Thanks for being at UMD, too. Your first year here with the Bulldogs. You come over in this off season. A lot of coaching changes went on. Obviously, we know about Coach Weezy taking over, but you came in kind of as part of this transition process. So how has your first year been going here?
The first year's been going very good. You know, it helps. You know, I came in January, so went through the spring, got to know the guys, got to know our schemes, you know, what we're trying to do, got to install some stuff and do those things. So it's been a very positive experience. You know, we've got a great group of kids in our football program, and the people in our athletic department have been very welcoming and are good people. So it's been a very good and smooth transition.
Is it fun as a coach to come in kind of as a freshman and have a lot of new things around you?
It is. It's a great learning experience, and you really grow as a coach. And sometimes you get stagnant in what you do, and when you move as a coach and you learn, that's always a positive thing. You know, you learn, and then you can bring some new things that you've done in the past that maybe can improve what's already going on. So it's good that way too.
Special teams coordinator, what exactly does that mean? We know special teams is the field goal, the punts. What exactly is your role day to day here with UMD?
My role day to day, I'm really in charge of, you know, our kickoff return, our punt, and our punt return units. And I oversee the game planning, the practice organization, the practice structure, what we do with those units on a day-to-day basis. Scouting reports that we give the players, install everything that goes along with those units. You know, so it's very time-consuming because you're handling a large number of players. I'm probably the only coach on the staff outside the head coach that knows players on both sides of the ball and involved with both players on both sides of the ball. So it's very time demanding, and there's a lot of work that goes into that.
And you added that you also help out with the defense, primarily with the secondary.
Yep.
So you're helping defense coordinator John Stager. What do you do there with the secondary, and mainly the defensive backs that you're working with?
That's correct. So on a day-to-day basis, I'll coach the secondary, the two corners and the two safeties. You know, responsible for you know, practice organization, what we do in an individual drill basis in our practice schedules, implementing our defensive game plan with those guys and evaluating, teaching those guys. So, you know, there's a lot of work involved in that also.
And primarily it's special teams for you. So we're going to take a look here at probably your proudest moment as a special teams coordinator so far in your tenure here at UMD. It's a fake field goal against St. Cloud State that scored a touchdown here. Eric Klein ran it in, and then on the ensuing kickoff, Andrew Breeze kicks it down near the goal line, and your guys go down, cause a fumble, force a fumble, UMD able to score again. So as a special teams guy, two bigger plays you really can't find throughout a season.
Yeah, those were two big plays back to back, and I can't take credit for the fake field goal. Peter Liu, our offensive line coach, is in charge of that unit with our offensive staff, and they do a really good job looking each week to see if we can get a fake. And we had it. They had it called. We had it called, and our kids did a great job executing that, and it really caused some momentum for us. And then we come back, and Andrew did a great job kicking off there. And there was some bad weather conditions for him to kick off into, and he started the ball out of bounds. He brought it back. The returner from St. Cloud didn't think it was going to come back into play, and it did. He fumbled the ball around and picked it up, and Brent Stiglitz did a great job running down there and getting his hand in there and causing a fumble. And then we had a bunch of other guys. Austin Selva got a recovery there, and we were able to punch that in on offense and get us some more points there. So
when fans look at a football game, they're obviously looking at the offense. A lot of them look at the defense. Special teams sometimes goes overlooked, but you look at two plays like that,
right.
Special teams can be huge momentum swings for a football team.
They can be, in more so than the momentum swing. It's the subtleties and the changing of the field position that'll either help or hurt if you can't flip field position. If your punt team can't flip field position to give your defense room to work, or vice versa with your punt return or your kickoff return team. It's those situations that sometimes people don't appreciate as much, that a 20-yard, 30-yard return difference is a big deal when it comes in terms of scoring points or keeping the opposing team from scoring points.
Well, we'll see how it goes. It's been going well so far this season, but we're going to bring you back at the end of the show, talk about your next opponent in Minot State here at Molosky Stadium.
Very good, good.
So, coming up next, though, we're going to have UMD men's hockey assistant coach Derek Plant in this chair for Bulldog Country. It's Bulldog Country on the My9 Sports Network. Welcome back to Bulldog Country. Joining us now is UMD men's hockey assistant coach Derek Plant. Coach, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks. My pleasure.
You start the season off this past weekend at home against Michigan Tech. You get a win and a tie here at Amsoil Arena. Your thoughts coming out of the first two games of the regular season?
I thought we played really good on Friday. We were happy to get the win, obviously. We didn't score as much as we'd like. I think we had a lot of shots and got a lot of chances, but maybe a little bit of the jitters. We weren't able to execute quite the way we want to score goals. Then Saturday, for whatever reason, I thought we were maybe a little tired. But their goalie played well, and we still had some chances to win the game. We were in a good spot to win at the end. And it's overall a pretty good weekend, but we know a lot more about our players, so going forward that's a lot helpful.
One of the biggest positives out of the weekend has to be the play of your goaltender, Matt McNeely. He played both games Friday and Saturday, allowed just the 2 goals the entire weekend, so you have to be happy with his play.
Absolutely. I think Matt played great on Friday night. He didn't get as many shots, but he made some big saves. We had 2 or 3 breakaways he made saves on. And he came back Saturday. Last year he had a lot of games where he played really well the first night, and being a young guy, wasn't quite as sharp the next night, and it was good to see him play 2 strong games this weekend.
Offensively, you talk about the guys maybe just being a little bit off. You want to score more goals than that in a series moving forward, but it felt like watching those 2 games, like they were there, they were trying to make the right plays, and they were just maybe a split second off as far as their timing goes. Is that just early in the season stuff for these guys?
Yeah, I think for sure it is, and getting in the real game time mode, the pace is higher. We've been practicing for a couple, 3 weeks, but it's not the same as playing games. To score goals, you have to execute perfectly, and to make pucks go in the net. So if your execution's off just a little bit, they don't go in. We had a lot of chances, a lot of shots, but maybe the execution wasn't quite there.
Plenty of reason of optimism, though, for the coaching staff moving forward as we get into the conference schedule now?
Oh, absolutely. I love our group. Good, positive kids. They've been working their butt off every day, so we got a lot to work with, and we're pretty excited.
This starts a new era this weekend for UMD hockey with the NCHC. You played as part of the old WCHA when you were there, so you're part of the last team to win a title as UMD as part of the WCHA. But are you sad to see the Bulldogs kind of change conferences, go away from that old conference?
Yeah, I mean, what I've grown up with is the WCHA. That's all I've known in this area, and then playing in it. And it's a great league. It's still a great league. But with everything, things change, and now we're really excited to get the NCHC, and hopefully we can win that cup.
First conference series is this weekend against Colorado College, so what do you know about the Tigers? What do you have to do well to kind of start this new conference off on the right foot?
Well, we know they're going to be pretty good. They've always have a really skilled team. They're well coached. They play on the big ice surface, so they're going to be able to skate. We'll probably be bringing more of a skating crew. Other than that, we don't know a ton. We haven't been able to get a lot of video. They've only played 1 exhibition game, and the video didn't work out so well. So our guess is just going on what they did last year, and we'll kind of go from there, but they're always pretty skilled. And we know some of their players from watching them junior hockey and watching them last year, so we'll be up against it.
Going on the road, you like that? This is your first test with a bunch of young guys on this team where you kind of get them away from Duluth, away from all the distractions of school and the town and all that, and kind of get them to just focus on the hockey games? Yeah,
right. I think it's great for them to bond, to get on the road. They're just hanging out with each other and get to know each other, stay in a hotel room together. I think that's good for team bonding, and hopefully we can get some wins and kind of go from there.
Shootouts are now a part of this in the NCHC. You did a couple in the exhibition game, and then you had one with Tech on Saturday night. They didn't go so well. So in the NCHC, those points, the winner of the shootout gets an extra conference point, so those could become very valuable at the end of the year when you're deciding, first, second, third. How are you going to work on that as a coaching staff moving forward? It's something new for even you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've been watching closely in practice. We're working on it more in practice and then watching more closely. Yeah, like every other year, it's been 1 or 2 points that jumps you up 1 or 2, 3 spots in the standings. So they're huge. So far, we're 0 for 7. So go back to the drawing board, but we'll just keep watching. It's a tough thing, you know. Sometimes just getting those shots under the belt where 6,000 people are watching you, and it's a little bit more nerve-wracking than when we're just doing it in front of your teammates. So hopefully we can find some guys that can score and our clutch guys in the shootout.
As a shooter, you like shootouts? You don't like them? I mean, it's a little bit different for hockey purists than scoring in the run of the game, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, just the game, I don't love them. I think it gets down to 2 or 3 guys, and it'll put a lot of weight on your goalie, not solely reflective of your team. At the same time, I can see where it's really exciting for the fans, and kids love it. I mean, I got 3 boys, and they just think it's the best thing ever. So I get the fact that it's really fun for the crowd, and it's a good way to end the game. You know, you make sure you're getting an end to the game, but I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of it. I'd rather see them maybe go to 3-on-3 or something. That's really exciting.
One of the best things last year that the Bulldogs did was the power play. You do some work with the power play during practices, along with Jason Herder and obviously Coach Sandelin. You scored a goal here in the Saturday night game against Michigan Tech. Joe Basaraba was able to kind of tip a shot, turn around, get his own rebound, and score a goal. So what do you hope to do right on the power play? What went right on this goal here?
On this one, you can see it went low to high. Right away, we talk about trying to spread out their box. On that one, you can see it went low to high, and then it went from side to side, and then they got a shot at net with Joe Basaraba there, and right where you're supposed to be, and he was able to get the rebound and put it home. So there's a lot of things that went right in that goal, and if we can do more of that, and you know, power plays, again, it's execution. If you can have all the plays there and have them all set up, but if you don't execute them when the time is right, and you know, if your pass is off a little here, your shot's off a little bit, they don't go in. So we'll have to work on our execution, but I think for the most part, our guys have a good idea what they're doing. It's just a matter of executing and putting it in the back of the net now.
We had UMD football special teams coordinator Greg Bauer on this part of the show as well. How important are special teams to hockey? Penalty kill, power play, stuff like that. Those are big momentum swings in a hockey game, too.
Oh, they're huge. Not only the momentum part of it, but just the fact that, I mean, how many goals are scored in a game? If you can score 2 on a power play, you got a way better chance of winning. And the same with penalty killing. If you don't give up any goals, you have a better chance of winning. I think a lot of 5-on-5 play ends up being pretty even at the end of if you look over the big period of the year, for the most part. So, you know, power plays and penalty kills, especially in tight games, are huge.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck out in Colorado this weekend.
Appreciate it.
We're going to have more Bulldog Country coming up right after this. It's Bulldog Country on the My9 Sports Network. Welcome back. Former UMD forward Justin Fontaine earlier this year made his debut with the Minnesota Wild and became the 50th former Bulldog to skate in the NHL. This week he made another milestone come true for himself. It came in record-breaking fashion. Just 12 seconds into Minnesota's home game against Dallas, Fontaine netted his first ever NHL goal, a backhander from the tops of the circles that slipped through the goaltender's pads. It also marked the fastest goal in Minnesota Wild history, beating out a Danny Heatley tally in 2012 that came just 13 seconds in, so a big night in the NHL for the former Bulldog. In women's hockey, UMD this weekend will host the #1 ranked team in the country, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. UMD is ranked 7th in the nation this week, with Minnesota still the unanimous #1 as that program rides an NCAA best 54-game winning streak in the Amsoil Arena. But Bulldogs head coach Shannon Miller says, though it'll be a test, she's hoping her team can be the one to end the Gophers' long winning streak.
Well, on paper, Minnesota's the best team in the country by far. I mean, that's clear to anybody that's paying attention, but the game's not played on paper. So I'm really excited to play them. The bottom line is we have to be really good defensively. We're going to have to hunt and hound on the forecheck. We're going to have to really sprint on the back check and play physical, do a good job in our own zone. And then when we get those offensive opportunities, bury it. And we have more talent on our team this year, so the opportunity to bury it is there.
Going back to last weekend for the Bulldogs, freshman defenseman Lara Stalder was named the WCHA Rookie of the Week for her play on the road against North Dakota. Stalder had a goal and 4 assists, playing a factor in 5 of the Bulldogs' 6 goals in that 2-game series. She now has 9 points through 4 games this season and leads the nation, averaging 1.75 assists per contest. To volleyball, Hibbing native Kate Lang this past weekend moved to 2nd all-time in career kills for the UMD Bulldogs. She now has 1,759. That's just 84 back of the school's all-time record holder, Vicki Bragelman. Lang this week for her efforts was named the Northern Sun Conference Offensive Player of the Week. It's the 2nd time this season she has been so honored. Lang leads the nation at the Division II level this season, averaging more than 5 kills per set. She also leads that UMD offense, which ranks 2nd in the Northern Sun Conference in hitting percentage. To basketball, where Tuesday of this week marked day one of many for both the UMD men's and women's teams. The first official practices were held in the afternoon at Romano Gym. The women are coming off a 14-win season and returned 3 starters from that squad. This year's Bulldogs will be led by Barnum native and senior forward Katrina Newman. She and head coach Annette Wiles are excited for what's to come in the year ahead.
Knowing that we were pretty banged up most of all of last year and suffered through some of those injuries, having key players back healthy and probably the most fit that they have been in their career is certainly exciting for me as a head coach.
Like Coach always talks about us as seniors, we go, or the team goes as we go. So I have a lot of people looking at me and I have a lot of people that I can ask to help me.
Meanwhile, the men's team continues to rebuild under now second-year head coach Matt Bowen. He brings in 12 new faces this season, 8 of those being freshman players. UMD last year won just 8 games, but this season Bowen and his senior captain Brett Irvin are hoping to compete for a top half finish in that Northern Sun Conference.
You know, with the right balances, with the right maturation of our young kids, we could certainly play at that level. It's just going to take some hard work.
I want to build for a championship. I mean, it's my last year, so all I want to do is to win a conference title, try to make the NCAA tournament, and just go from there. And that's why I want to leave my mark here.
To football, where this weekend UMD senior captain Tom Olson will make his 48th straight start on the Bulldogs offensive line. That will be the second longest streak in program history, second only to the 54 straight contest started by Duluth native and fellow offensive lineman Garth Heikkinen. More tonight on the durable and dependable Tom Olson.
This UMD player profile is brought to you by Mining Minnesota.
47 games and counting. That's the consecutive start streak for UMD senior captain Tom Olson, second only to a former teammate of his, Garth Heikkinen.
I mean, I think a lot of it's luck. I think Garth would say the same thing. We've been pretty fortunate with not getting hurt, and we can help the younger guys out, teach them things that we went through a couple years ago. And
it's that part, the on-the-field help, that is most beneficial to these Bulldogs as Olson continues to rack up starts and game experience.
Especially now this year, we have a couple of new guys who are starting for the first time. They're able to kind of help those guys out along and those finer things. Some stuff I'm able to still teach, but other stuff just comes from playing. And
it helps because you can tell where guys are going, and depending on the defense and where they're lined up, and you can teach younger guys like Peter Bateman on the left side. It's his first year starting, so I can teach him what I had problems with and what guys used to do to me.
With 2 offensive linemen, Olson and Heikkinen, now atop this particular portion of the UMD record books, head coach Kurt Weezy says it's time to thank some not often mentioned members of that UMD staff.
I think it speaks volumes, not only for those 2 guys, for Tom and for Garth, but also for our strength staff and our training staff. Those guys have done a good job taping those guys up and putting them back on the field and making sure they're healthy for every Saturday.
Olson will need 8 more Saturdays to break Heikkinen's all-time record of 54, but the bigger picture, should he get there, means a whole lot more.
Me and Garth always talk about that because if I break his streak, then we'll be going deep into the playoffs, and that's what we both want. So.
Sticking with football, a familiar face returned to the sidelines this week for the Bulldogs. Former quarterback Chase Vogler has joined the UMD coaching staff as a volunteer assistant. He had been playing semi-pro ball in Germany the past 4 months, but that season is over, so Vogler has now returned to the States. He will work primarily with the defensive secondary, helping out defensive coordinator John Steger and special teams coordinator Greg Bauer. He still holds the all-time UMD record for rushing yards by a quarterback and is second all-time in total offense for a single player. We're going to have more Bulldog Country coming up right after this. We're going to talk about the upcoming matchup for that UMD football team with special teams coordinator Greg Bauer. It's Bulldog Country on the My9 Sports Network.